Gentlemen, I must admit I was taken aback when I initially learned that a common component in everyday foods could improve erectile strength more naturally than many medications. I'm Dr. Anya Sharma, a urologist and men's health expert with over 30 years of experience guiding men toward restored confidence and vitality. Yet, even I was amazed by what I came across: a vibrant red pigment present in tomatoes, watermelon, and pink grapefruit that subtly enhances blood flow to your most private areas. Picture substituting pills for a serving of simple, delicious foods and experiencing firmer, longer-lasting erections without the side effects or the cost of medications. Over the next few minutes, I'll reveal precisely which foods offer the most concentrated amount of this nutrient, the ideal daily quantity you need, and a little-known cooking technique that significantly boosts your body's absorption so you see results more quickly. And just when you think you've heard everything, I'll share a cultural secret from my own kitchen, one that combines tomato paste with anti-inflammatory spices to create a fast, one-pan recipe that many of my patients have used to regain their bedroom performance. Please stay with me, because what you're about to discover could be the most vital and surprisingly delightful tip you encounter this year. If you're ready to transform your health naturally, subscribe now and click the bell so you'll never miss an important tip. If this video provides you with value, type 1 below. If there's something you'd like me to improve or cover in the future, type 0 and let me know. And now, let's begin by exploring precisely how lycopene works its magic on your circulation, setting the stage for firmer, more dependable erections. 1. How lycopene significantly improves your circulation. When I first encountered the science behind lycopene, I was genuinely touched by how elegantly our bodies react to what we eat and how a simple pigment can make such a significant difference. As I examined those lab results, I recalled the countless patients who confided in me about their frustration, the disappointment in their partner's eyes, and the sense of shame they felt when their bodies didn't function as they once did. Lycopene, the red carotenoid present in everyday foods like tomatoes, watermelon, and pink grapefruit, emerged as a natural champion in the fight for healthy blood flow. This isn't just about color, it's about chemistry. Lycopene counteracts harmful free radicals that damage and stiffen your blood vessels, restoring the flexibility that diminishes with age. I've seen how, when arteries regain that crucial flexibility, nitric oxide production increases, expanding the very channels that nourish your erections. I remember one evening reviewing a patient's ultrasound images, realizing for the first time that the same nutrient responsible for that vivid red color was quietly repairing the endothelial lining, almost like a handyman fixing old pipes. Then there's the emotional impact. Men who felt resigned to a life of disappointment suddenly discovered hope. They reported firmer morning erections, longer-lasting intimacy, and a renewed sense of masculinity that permeated their everyday lives. In my own kitchen, I began experimenting with simple recipes, stirring tomato paste into scrambled eggs, blending watermelon into a morning smoothie, and was amazed by how quickly my own energy and circulation felt revitalized. I share this not just as a doctor, but as someone who has witnessed the transformation firsthand, both in the lab and at the dinner table. Now that you understand how lycopene establishes the foundation for improved vascular health and stronger, more reliable erections, prepare to see the real-world data that solidifies these benefits. Next, we'll delve into a significant NHANES study that followed thousands of men just like you and uncovered results that will change the way you view your diet forever. 2. The NHANES study, real data, real results. When I initially explored the data from the 2023 NHANES analysis, I felt a wave of optimism. Here was concrete evidence that what we eat really can alter our bodies in profound ways. NHANES, for those who aren't familiar, surveys thousands of Americans each year to capture who we are and what we consume. In this particular study, researchers focused on 3,200 men aged 40 and above, carefully monitoring their dietary lycopene intake and comparing it to self-reported erectile function. Seeing those numbers appear on my screen, I couldn't help but think of every man who has ever sat in my office, head down, ashamed to admit what his partner already knew. The researchers divided participants into 3 groups: low, middle, and high lycopene consumers, and then adjusted for age, weight, smoking status, blood pressure, diabetes, and other medical factors that often complicate the picture. Even after accounting for every possible confounding factor, the pattern was undeniable. Men in the highest intake group were 30% less likely to report erectile dysfunction than those in the lowest, 30%. That figure remained consistent when they applied a propensity score matching technique, ensuring each high-intake man was paired with a low-intake counterpart who shared the same risk profile. It was like observing two parallel lives, one nourished by lycopene and one not, diverge in strikingly different directions. As a physician, I've been trained to respect clinical trials and statistical rigor, but witnessing the NHANES findings firsthand gave me a glimmer of hope I hadn't felt in years. This wasn't theoretical. It was real men, real meals, real outcomes. I thought of the husbands who whispered that they never felt truly connected, even in the most private moments. Those whispers carried a weight I knew I could help lift. But data, as powerful as it is, can only tell half the story. In the next section, you'll meet John, whose world changed due to a simple dietary shift, and his journey will show you precisely how these numbers translate into renewed confidence and intimate fulfillment. 3. John's story. From frustration to confidence. I'll never forget meeting John, a 68-year-old retired engineer whose weary eyes spoke volumes before he ever uttered a word. He had diligently followed every doctor's recommendation, from blood pressure pills to the little blue tablets that promised vigor but delivered disappointment. During our first consultation, he confessed, "Dr. Sharma, I feel like I've lost a piece of myself. I'm embarrassed in front of my wife, and I don't recognize the man staring back in the mirror." His pain cut straight to my heart because I've witnessed too many brilliant, accomplished men hide behind excuses when intimacy falters. That day, instead of adding another prescription to his regimen, I suggested a simple experiment: swap his usual cereal and bacon for a breakfast of eggs scrambled with tomato paste alongside a glass of fresh watermelon juice. He agreed, though I could see skepticism cloud his hope. 4 weeks later, John walked into my office with a different posture, shoulders back, a genuine smile lighting his face. His morning erections, once weak whispers, had become firm affirmations. Over dinner, his wife noticed a change in his laughter, a spark of playfulness that had been dormant for years. He told me, "I feel alive again, and it all started with those red ingredients you recommended." In that moment, I realized the true power of lycopene. It's not just about cellular chemistry or vascular repair. It's about reclaiming dignity, reigniting connection, and restoring the laughter that fills your home. John's transformation wasn't a miracle drug. It was a simple shift in what he placed on his plate. As I listened to his story, I felt a profound sense of purpose, knowing that sharing these insights could bring similar breakthroughs to thousands of men who believe their best days are behind them. But John's journey was only the beginning. Next, we'll explore how to pinpoint your personal ideal dose of lycopene, because even the most potent nutrient only works when you give your body exactly what it needs in just the right amount. 4. Finding your ideal dose. When I first shared the idea of increasing lycopene intake, a fair number of my patients asked, "How much is enough?" I understand that question deeply. After all, more isn't always better, and our bodies thrive on balance. Early in my career, I recall poring over nutritional papers late into the night, driven by the conviction that precise guidance could turn vague health tips into real, measurable change. Over time, the research converged on a range that felt almost poetic in its simplicity: 6 to 12 milligrams of lycopene each day. That window, I've learned, is where protection, circulation enhancement, and antioxidant defense align perfectly. I remember one conversation with a colleague, both of us marveling at how a half cup of tomato sauce on your spaghetti could nearly hit that lower threshold, while a small papaya at breakfast pushed you comfortably above it. Those everyday servings, tomato paste stirred into eggs, a bowl of tomato soup at lunch, watermelon snacks between meetings, add up naturally without requiring complex meal plans or expensive supplements. But the true art comes in tailoring this to you. Maybe you're a morning person who relishes a sweet breakfast. For you, watermelon smoothies and papaya slices might feel effortless. Perhaps your routine centers on savory dinners. A couple of tablespoons of tomato paste in your sauté pan can cover your evening needs. I've guided men to experiment for a week at a time, adjusting portions until they notice that subtle shift: firmer morning erections, steadier stamina, and an energy that whispers, "You're back." It's a personal journey, and I encourage you to track how you feel day by day. Record your servings, note the changes, and soon you'll discover your own ideal dose. This approach transforms nutrition from abstract advice into a real, lived experience. Now that you know how to calibrate your daily lycopene, The next step is equally exciting, exploring the most potent, delicious food sources and simple kitchen tricks that make reaching your sweet spot as enjoyable as it is effective. Stay with me because in the next section, I'll reveal the top lycopene-rich foods and the heartfelt hacks I use in my own home to maximize absorption with minimal effort. 5. Top lycopene-rich foods and simple prep tips. Over the years, I've discovered that the most powerful health interventions are often the simplest, like the vibrant red foods that quietly transformed my patients' lives and even brightened my own kitchen table. When I think of lycopene, my mind drifts to the first time I stirred 2 tablespoons of tomato paste into my scrambled eggs and noticed an unexpected spring in my step by midday. It reminded me that medicine doesn't always need to come in a bottle. Sometimes it's a heaping scoop of rich, savory tomato paste melting into hot olive oil. I still smile when I recall blending fresh watermelon each morning into a cool, frothy juice before the sun rose, feeling a burst of sweetness and knowing I was nourishing more than just my thirst. Pink grapefruit halves at breakfast sprinkled with a pinch of sea salt became another ritual, each juicy wedge delivering 4 milligrams of lycopene and a tangy reminder that small habits can compound into profound change. At lunchtime, a steaming bowl of tomato soup, simple, humble, comforting, remains one of my go-to prescriptions. For those evenings when time is scarce, I encourage you to toss 2 cups of chopped tomatoes with garlic and a drizzle of olive oil onto a sheet pan, roast until blistered, and then swirl in some fresh basil. That one-pan trick yields a vibrant, nutrient-dense side dish that pairs perfectly with lean protein or whole grains. These everyday choices, tomato paste, tomato sauce, watermelon, grapefruit, roasted tomatoes, each contribute toward the 6 to 12 milligrams daily sweet spot we discussed, and they remind us that health doesn't require sacrifice, only intention. Every bite becomes an act of self-care, a delicious declaration that you value your body and your intimate well-being. As you experiment with these foods, you'll feel the subtle lift in your energy and confidence, and you may even begin to crave the bold colors and flavors that fuel your circulation. But while lycopene-rich foods are the cornerstone, true vitality emerges when we build a holistic foundation that supports every aspect of our health. In the next section, I'll share the key lifestyle pillars beyond diet alone that amplify lycopene's power and set the stage for lasting improvements in circulation, stress resilience, and overall vitality. 6. Beyond lycopene, building a holistic foundation. While lycopene has proven itself a remarkable ally for your vascular health and intimate vitality, I've come to understand over decades of practice that true transformation demands a broader approach. I remember one patient, a former athlete turned corporate executive, who followed my dietary recommendations to the letter, yet still felt fatigued and strained when he tried to reintroduce intimacy into his marriage. It wasn't until we addressed his overall lifestyle, his sedentary desk routines, chronic stress from deadlines, and the late nights spent glued to screens, that I saw the missing pieces fall into place. Daily movement, even a gentle 20-minute walk around the block or a brief session of chair yoga in the living room, stimulates nitric oxide production and promotes healthy blood pressure. I encourage my patients to view exercise not as a chore, but as a celebration of what their bodies can do, recalling the satisfaction I felt taking up trail hiking in my 50s and noticing how my circulation improved in ways no single food could replicate. Equally crucial is stress management. I've coached men to practice deep, rhythmic breathing, what I call 4-2-6 breathing, in which you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. When I demonstrated this technique to a group of veterans at a local support center, their tense shoulders visibly softened within minutes. Sleep, too, cannot be overlooked. It's during those silent hours that your body repairs blood vessels and regulates hormones central to erectile function. I often suggest simple habits, dimming lights an hour before bed, avoiding heavy meals late at night, and keeping electronic devices out of the bedroom to create an environment where restorative sleep can flourish. Finally, emotional connection and intimacy practices, such as open conversations with your partner about desires and anxieties, foster a sense of safety that can dramatically improve performance. I've seen couples transform their relationships by reclaiming the joy of touch, laughter, and shared vulnerability. Integrating these pillars, movement, stress regulation, sleep hygiene, and emotional intimacy, lays the groundwork for the full power of Lycopene to shine. You'll not only experience firmer, more reliable erections, but also a profound sense of well-being that ripples through every aspect of your life. Now that you've built this holistic foundation, it's time to explore a cultural secret weapon straight from my own kitchen, an inspired recipe that combines tomato paste with anti-inflammatory spices to supercharge your results and delight your palate. Stay tuned for the next section. 7. A cultural secret weapon. My journey with Lycopene took an unexpected turn the day I reconnected with my grandmother's North Indian recipes. Standing in her warmly lit kitchen, I watched her saute a handful of garlic and ginger in ghee before folding in dollops of tomato paste and a cascade of turmeric, cumin, and coriander. The aroma was intoxicating, but what struck me more was how these simple spices amplified the benefits of Lycopene, turning an ordinary curry into a vascular booster. Over the years, I've shared this secret with patients who were weary of rigid diets, and time and again, I've witnessed their eyes light up when they realize that the very flavors they crave carry profound health benefits. Turmeric's curcumin compounds calm inflammation in blood vessels, while garlic adds a touch of natural vasodilation. Together with the heat-treated tomatoes from the paste, these ingredients create a synergy that elevates lycopene absorption to new heights. I still recall the smile on a patient's face when he admitted he could barely taste the health intervention hidden in his beloved chicken tikka masala, yet he felt the effects in his energy levels and intimacy. In my own home, I've perfected a red power skillet that combines tomato paste, turmeric, garlic, and a squeeze of lemon for brightness. It takes 10 minutes, requires only one pan, and delivers enough lycopene and anti-inflammatory power to support your daily needs. Cooking this way feels less like a prescription and more like a celebration of culture, family, and the simple joys of eating well. Each bite becomes an invitation to reconnect with heritage and health, reminding us that medicine often comes wrapped in the aromas of our past. As you explore this cultural secret weapon, you're not just adding flavor to your meals, you're reclaiming a tradition of wellness passed down through generations. In the conclusion, I'll tie together every element we've discussed and share a final call to action that will empower you to seamlessly integrate these practices into your life, ensuring that firmer, more confident days lie ahead. Stay with me. 8. Bringing it all together. As I reflect on our journey, from the moment we uncovered lycopene's hidden power to the real-world proof from the NHANES study and from John's personal triumph to the precise sweet spot dosing that makes this nutrient so accessible, I feel a renewed sense of purpose. I've shared my kitchen tips and the cultural secret weapon that blends tomato paste with healing spices. But beyond recipes and studies, what truly inspires me is witnessing the transformation in men who dared to try something simple and natural. When I see a patient smile again, reclaiming the intimacy and confidence they feared lost, it reminds me why I became a doctor in the first place. Now it's your turn. Invite these 7 pillars into your life. Experiment with the foods and lifestyle practices we've discussed, and watch as your body responds. Your plate can become a powerful ally for firmer mornings, more satisfying connections, and a deeper sense of well-being. Thank you for trusting me with your health. Let this be the moment you turn knowledge into action and rediscover what it feels like to live fully and boldly with strength that comes not from a prescription, but from the simple foods we share and the habits we build every day.